Hello, I'm Mr. Matthews, but today, I gotta be honest, I wish I were just a regular person like you, because you are about to experience the greatest show on YouTube, Your World Gaming News, with your host, Steve McAlpha-Nerd. I hope you're sitting down, because the rest of your life starts right about now.
What is going on, everybody? Steve here from Alpha Nerd Entertainment. That was one hell of an intro from one hell of a guy. Well-spoken and charismatic, my buddy, Mr. Matthews, or Old Grimy, as he likes to be called. Hey, if you didn't know, he is related to Frank Grimes, Old Rob Grimes. Thank you for that intro, Rob. That was absolutely awesome. All jokes aside, welcome back to Your World Gaming News, everybody. We have a legitimate, awesome episode today. We're going to be visiting the world's largest antique store in Canada. I didn't know I was going to be visiting this. I just Googled a game store in Woodstock, Ontario, and I stumbled across something a whole lot different. I found myself wandering around this place for 2.5 hours, and I probably could have spent another hour there easily. So we'll be checking out that place and some of my pickups from there. We're going to be talking about a whole lot of things. I don't want to waste too much time, so we're just going to kind of get our drink on. So we're going to get our glass, we're going to grab our pipe, we're going to fire up the music, and do what we normally do. Do we have an episode today? We really do have an episode today. We got a whole lot of really great stuff. I don't really want to waste any time, so we're just going to kind of just go with the flow and dive right on into it. So I mentioned at the beginning that I do have some pickups, that I visited an antique shop. But today, first, I want to talk about my buddy Mazin Power and what he's been up to for the month of May. And well, that boy, Mazin, has been Mega Man for the month of May. Mega Man X absolutely killing it and kicking ass. That's right, my boy, Mega Man X Mazin Power. Before I did that jump cut, I was like, wait a minute, I forgot to put out Mega Man. And well, it gave me an opportunity to repack my pipe. So things are all good in the hood. So yes, what about Mazin Power? What has he been doing? This guy goes and crushes 8 Mega Man X games since the start of May. Now, the reason I find that so impressive is because, you know, there's nothing wrong with practicing a game beforehand and going live. I've done it many times in the past. But here's my belief with this. I think he's just doing this on a whim. You can't play 8 games and do 2 separate playthroughs. I think he's played 0 in like every version. So I don't even know if that's 16 playthroughs. I haven't kept that close of an eye on it, but I have been enjoying his streams, and I have been enjoying him playing Mega Man X. And as we know, those X games are pretty tough. My personal favorites are 1 and 4. The only 2 I've beaten of the bunch, so a little bit of bias there. I have a strong interest in 2. But man, it's been cool seeing him play him. I gotta say, Mega Man 7, I like that they went and did things different. So he's been showcasing these games and absolutely tearing through them. He's just doing regular playthrough. He's not setting out to speedrun them. He's not setting out to NDR them. He's just beating them and showcasing Mega Man for what Mega Man is, and Mega Man is awesome. And so Mazin, thank you for doing that. That's really, really cool. I've never seen Mega Man 7 before. I've never seen Mega Man 8 before. I've never seen a full playthrough of 6 before. Truth be told, I didn't even realize that 6 was on the PS1. I thought there was just X4 and X5. I didn't know there was even 6. On PS1 anyways. I figured that would be on the next platform. So really cool stuff there. I gotta say, 7 is unique. Now, from what I hear, it's bad. It looked bad. It looked bad because it looked slow. I think they had a good idea there. I can respect Capcom for being original and trying something new, but it just looked too slow paced. But Mega Man 8 that he most recently beat, I think he was playing with Zero with his first playthrough. Man, it's becoming a bit of a blend, but the skill required. I talk about Mazen in the past. I brought up some of these great gamers within the community many times before, and Mazen is no exception to this. I've mentioned him many times, but for him to be able to just come out and crush these games and just power through them in good time, just as a showcase to his skill and what he's capable of doing. I don't know if there's one individual series with 8 games that I could just burn through. Just like, oh yeah, it's been a couple years, let me just fire these up and beat the shit out of them. I don't think there is a series. I can certainly fire up 20, 30 plus Genesis games and power through them, but it's individual series. I don't have that skill set for an individual series, and it's been really cool to see him do that. So, Mazen, good job on making May the month of Mega Man. Say that 3 times fast. So, I'm going to have a little puff of the goodness here, have another drink, and move on to our next topic. Can you hear it crackling? I could for a second. Something else I wanted to talk about was a video I just saw a couple days ago. And I have to say that it pulled me in. It was a very long video. I have still only seen just over half. But there was enough in that 50 minutes, 45 minutes. I watched quite a bit. It was. I think the whole video was like an hour and a half. I watched like a solid 50 minutes. And it was excellent. That video was by Gaming Off the Grid. First, I just want to say that they are lucky and fortunate to have the interaction that they have. I want to say that they obviously have worked for it. So they have earned that their community chimes in as much as they do. In this video, they were answering questions from their community, and the community that support them certainly gave them tons of good questions and a lot of material to work with. It was just really a great episode for a magnitude of reasons. With each question, I found myself thinking about how I would answer it. And just it allows you to think inward about your journey as a gamer over the years. And myself, being born in '82, I have been gaming over the years. And it was just cool to hear the questions they were given, their responses. And one's response in particular really it's something I've been noticing. But Wes answered a question. I'm not sure exactly what the question was, but what he got into talking about was, as a content creator, and someone who I think is a part of our community, I just think they're at the peak of the pyramid due to their obvious success. But the reason I say they're a part of the community, different from so many other bigger YouTubers that are a little bit below them and quite a bit above them, as far as sub count goes and views and whatnot, the upper echelon, if you will, as you come further down the echelon, you find Your World Gaming News and Elfin Entertainment. But them being up where they are and what they've represented, Wes was saying that he wants to know that people, when they watch their videos, that they can trust in his opinion. And I've kind of noticed this because I take note of the things that happen in the community. And I've been seeing them build their NDR list. And I just have to say that there are many times when I watch content creators give strong opinions on games, and I really start to doubt how much gaming they actually do. I've never had this with Gaming Off the Grid, but I've had it with many other YouTubers. And I like that Wes is countering that by doing what he's doing with Robert, and them just crushing games, them making a point of that. He was the one who put it into words in the particular video, but it's credit to both of them. They're both putting into work. So it's like, can you discredit their opinion when they've NDR'd Contra Hardcore 2-player? And, recently did Terminator taking turns on Sega CD, which is pretty dope. Shout out to Mega Dan because he's also done that one. That is a really good game. I believe Omega Ace did a playthrough of that quite some time ago. Cool game that I've yet to still play. So I should probably get on that. But here's the thing. What struck a chord with me with that one is that good on them for wanting to crush games to make their voice credible. Because then it's undeniable. For someone to kind of argue and say that maybe their opinion doesn't hold, well, I think what they're doing is giving themselves a library or a playlist of games that say otherwise. And I just wanted to give that huge props because seriously, there are many YouTubers out there, many reviewers, many content creators where people give strong opinions on games or even share their thoughts on games, even if it's lazy, because sometimes that's the worst. If you just carelessly say a game is bad and you don't get in depth about it, some people, if you have a big following, might heed what you say and believe that game is bad when they could obviously be blatantly wrong. There's times when you see, reviewers talk about games that you can tell that they haven't given much time to. And you start to notice a trend with their rushed opinions on games. See, one of the things that I think gaming purists know that is when you give a game its time, you have to take the time to learn it at all costs, even if that means it's poor. If it's a bad game with bad controls or even bad graphics or bad sound, if you're taking on the task of playing it and beating it, well, you need to adapt to whatever it's going to throw your way, even if it's bad. So when you do that and you learn a game, you find an appreciation in it because all games on some level force you to learn them. If you don't, you're not going to have a good time and you're not going to succeed. So when you take the time to learn them and get through them, your opinion becomes much different. You start to see the many good things that you don't see in quick plays. Even if you spend an hour in a game, it's not enough. Sometimes you really have to get deep into the game and execute the victory. Sometimes you even need to do it twice. Have you ever watched a movie and haven't fully been able to remember it or recite it to anybody? They say, hey, what was it all about? And you're like, oh, you don't really have a good quick answer. And you've seen it once, but you've seen it. But you can't form that opinion. Sometimes you got to see a movie twice. Sometimes you got to play a game twice. Number 2, before we move on from this topic, they received some questions about Red Dead Redemption 2. They gave a response that many, many people have given. There was a time when I gave the same response. And I've been as a fan since I've beaten this game, beaten it twice now, want to beat it a third. It is my favorite game of all time, and that is a spoiler to when I do get around to my top 50 games of all time. It's debatable. I might give some more hard depth opinions and thought up here about my top 2, maybe top 3, and see where they want to land. So it might not necessarily be number 1. But it's excellent. And let me tell you, when people say that they play and they get distracted or they lose interest and they walk away, happened to me twice. I played about a chapter and a half, stopped playing for about 5 months. I did another chapter and got almost to chapter 3, but not quite. That was about 6 months later after I did the first 1.5 chapters. Then I got myself 6 months later, played for another full chapter, got 2.5 chapters deep, almost chapter 3, and then about a year passed. I did what everybody does. I was frustrated by all the same things that everybody was at the start. When I came back to it a year later, I said, I'm going to beat this fucking game. I'm not going to stop until I do it. I have to stop putting this off. I see everybody else doing it, and those who have played it are like in awe with it, and there's a reason, and I am one of them. Here are my advices to Red Dead Redemption 2 and how to stick to it, and how to get through the story in a way that's going to favor you and give my response to them and anybody else who needs to hear it about Red Dead 2 because everyone seems to need it. The snow level, get over it. It's like 3 or 4 missions, maybe 5. It is tedious, it is annoying. The worst ones are when you're climbing into the barn when it's on fire. That's very early. It's focus, pay attention, try not to fuck it up and waste your time. Just get through that one. Even if you, I'd pay attention to the cutscene though. I would say that. I know that's not gaming when you're just watching, but it's a part of the game, it's part of the story, it's important. I'd say focus more on that cutscene, power through the snow, power through the hunting with, what's his face? I can't remember right now. Hunt the deer, get through that shit, commit to that. But this is what you need to do after that. You need to focus on anything yellow. Anything yellow is main story mission, any character. Just pick them, beeline them, and beat them. If you can play one person multiple times, do it. There's no reason. It's not going to mess up the story. It's not going to make it repetitive. It's going to make it a little bit more relevant to play each character, unless they disappear and then other ones pop up, as Rockstar Games do. Focus on the main missions. If you're running past people, ignore them. Ignore everything. Ignore everything. Because you can do all of it later, like 95% of it later. So whatever little tiny 5 or 4% you miss, because it's very little, it's like 2 things, leave it. Leave everything white on the map. Leave people who just yell out at you. Leave them. They'll always be there. As long as you come back around, Any other time, it's like 95% they're going to be there. It's unlikely they won't be there unless you just circle back. You know what I mean? Go continue with the story. Leave it all for the end. Leave it all for the end. Learn the controls. Learn the game. Take care of your horse. Feed your horse. Pat your horse. Build your horse to full stats. He is your car. Think of this game as Grand Theft Auto. Your horses are your cars. Learn where the stables are. Put horses in the stable. Grab an Alibi or whatever it is. I believe that's the name of the horse. Grab a white one. It's up in the north. Look up the white Alibi. Or I think that's what it is. And that's the name of the horse, I think. I'm pretty sure. White Alibi. Get that fucking horse. It's easy enough to find up in the north when you Google where that is. The horse is dope. Take care of it. Build its full stats. Buy its shit. Because there isn't much you're going to need to purchase early in the game. You're going to be given enough guns to gunfight. Use your Deadeye properly. That's an obvious tip. With that being said, don't just hold it for a long period of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let off dead shot. No. Tap it, one guy, Deadeye, bullet, tap it off, look for the next dude, move up there, don't waste the Deadeye in between and move quicker. Deadeye, one shot, pop him, Deadeye off, look for the next guy. You do this, you save your Deadeye, it lasts longer, you get more accurate dropping people, and yeah, it might look cool the other way, but you drain it, and it's slow from person to person. It does look cool. You can mix it in every once in a while. But keep your guns. You don't lose them. I wouldn't waste too much money on guns. They're plentiful. Just become a good shot with your Deadeye and use them wisely. But take care of your horse and follow yellow missions and beat it. Just beat them. Every single one. All the characters. Go to all of them. I would say even interact with the camp. If you want to immerse yourself into the experience, don't run around bullshit areas with other people. Save that shit for later, all of it. Don't care about filling out the map. It will come as you play. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about all the little treasures that lurk out there. And there are literal treasures. Do it later. Because by that time, you'll be good at riding the horse, good at the controls. Because you need the time to get a function of the base controls. You need to get good at them. So you're not in town having a horse run over a person and then the bounty's on you and you're running in and out of town getting shot up and you're not making any progress. Be careful with your horse in town. Learn your horse. Pay attention to its controls and how it's going to be around people. Master that, or don't mess around with people because it's going to distract you from progressing. And that's what you want to do in this game. It's big, but it's not as big as you think if you start beelining those main missions. Chapters will start to pass, and this is the important part. I think after chapter 3, there's 6 chapters and I think 2 epilogues, so there's like 8 in total. Somewhere between the late half of chapter 2 and the early part of chapter 3, things get really, really, really good. At the end of chapter 3, things get super, super, super dope and really changing. From this point in, you'll start to get really good at the controls and starting to really understand the game, and you should be starting to get hooked. But you have to commit to this one. But once you get to that point, you won't have to anymore. You're going to be glued to come back and play it. You're going to be glued to coming back and playing it. And that's all I can say about Red Dead. Everyone suffers from that same early problem that everyone seems to face. I'm going to beat the fucker a third time, and I'm going to try to beat it fast. Faster than I did the second time. First time was slow and long, did tons of extras. I didn't 100% it like I did the first one. Because I don't care about 100% shit anymore. It's time consuming. I got a backlog. There are millions of games. But anyways, that was a good little bit about Red Dead Redemption 2 and why everybody needs to play it. So, cheers to fucking Gaming Off the Grid for having a really good video and me still having some left to watch. Cheers to them and their audience for giving them some awesome questions. And I'll ask my audience, if you ever have questions for me, I'll stockpile some and incorporate them into Your World Gaming News because it's fun to answer good questions. So with that being said, I'm going to finish off this beer. We're going to move on. Well, now that we got all that boring stuff out of the way, and I want to say, even though I did really want to talk about all that, and I really did, I want to say that I didn't exactly open this video with a bang, but let me tell you, we've reached that part of the video where we've reached the real meat and potatoes. And I'm dead serious when I say that. I'm really excited to show you the next part. I check out a cool antique store. I get some really cool pickups. One pickup I failed to mention, I didn't get this at the antique store, but have you seen this film? I've seen it once. I look forward to seeing it again. My first viewing, I really like the Batman. saying I'm Vengeance is stupid, but this movie isn't stupid. I like this movie. It's a recent pickup. I'll show you more recent pickups at the antique store. And then when we come back with the weather and sports, things are going to get really, really, really interesting. And like I said, for the next 30, 35 minutes, all I can say is have fun and enjoy. Cheers. This is the place. This ancient ass old building here in Woodstock. At 97 Wilson. Ancient ass building. So here's the interesting thing. When I work, I'm in different areas all the time. So I Google retro game stores. Yeah, one of a kind antique mall. Apparently the biggest antique shop in Canada. In this very, very old building. I thought it was pretty dope. Yeah, so I just Googled game stores and I was confused when I got here. What is going on, guys? We're in a very cool antique store. Some very, very neat things. Plenty of things have caught in my eye here that I thought were worth showcasing on some level. Ghostbusters, Diablo 3, Fallout, Crash Team Racing. I don't even recognize that other Crash game. Ooh, Rayman 3. I don't have an Xbox. Hey, look who it is. Looks like I got a pretty good deal then, because I would have ripped it out of the box. Look at this. I have this game. And that kind of kills me, because I paid a good 20-25 bucks more. Seal Feed, The Lost Planet for PS2. That's a sweet find. That is a really, really sweet find right there. Avatar. I still need to see the second one. Captain America and the Avengers. Just very, very interesting place. This is like kind of like a sweet discovery here. Okay, this is pretty sweet. There's some very killer movies in here. And I'm very much hoping to find a VHS copy of The Thing. Evil Dead. Let's just keep scrolling here. The Leprechaun 2 and 3. I was actually quite surprised to see a copy of Cabin Fever on VHS. That's a relatively new movie as far as, you know, figured it would be on DVD only. No Thing. Man, that is a lot of VHS. I'm gonna have to siphon through this to see if I can find a copy of The Thing. Because I do really, really want The Thing on VHS. I think it's a pretty rare one, though. Ooh, The Punisher on NES. Rampage, POW, Prisoners of War. If only I collected for Nintendo and Super.
I'd be finding some good things here. Awesome CIB N64.
Evil Dead.
Well, I don't often show a lot of love for old Xbox, but let's take a look and see what we got here for the Xbox lovers. Let's see, Max Payne 3. Let's zoom in and get a little closer look. Oh, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Lego Lord of the Rings is good, as is Indiana Jones. Ooh, Rayman Legends. It's a good game. Genesis Collection. Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. Definitely good stuff. Sparta Total Warrior. Prince of Persia, all three of them. Actually, yeah, Two Thorns, Sands of Time, Warrior Within. And the Emperor's Tomb, Indiana Jones, right over there. Where the hell it is? There it is. Even some Xbox One. Everybody's favorite there, Garfield, caught in the act. There's a lot of mint condition, or great condition CIB stuff. Oh, I could look here, but I bet you I won't find the thing. How great would it be if I find a copy of the thing by the time this is all done? Big Trouble in Little China, but no thing. Okay, so basically at this point, I can't even film anymore. I just need to look for myself. Medieval on PS4. That's pretty sweet. Of course, Thing on Blu-ray. Can find Thing on Blu-ray and DVD no problem, but VHS, whole other story. Why is Thing on VHS so hard to find? What the fuck is up with this Mega Man? That is cracked out Mega Man. Look at those eyes. I don't know who that is, but that is not the the Blue Bomber. No, sir. There's a whole bin of Asteroid Blast. Is that the Turtles van? Okay, I felt this was worthy of a video. This is the Bigfoot from the famous Patterson Gimli footage, which is great footage, and I actually believe is authentic. I just think it's funny that there's figurines of him in that same walking, turning pose. Pretty funny. Okay, now this might not be interesting to anybody else, but I actually have the locomotive that would pull these. When I was a kid, we had a train track that would go around the basement floor, and you know, you could control it at certain speeds. And what my dad is took the liberty of getting the, you know, the electric race cars that you control with the triggers, and he made a jump. And of course, it's all electronic, so he had to judge the distance that there'd be enough momentum from the car that you could make the jump to land on the other side of the track and still have the electricity pull you around. I always thought that was the coolest thing, and it was really creative of my dad to do that, to create a jump with a track that's supposed to be connected, but he was able to make it work without like a, you know, without the connection of about a 1 inch gap, maybe 2 inch gap. Because the momentum would click and then the electricity would pull your car around to your control, all while this train would go around and around in circles. And this is the exact, you know, brand of the, I literally had this piece. I still have the locomotive, so I might show it in the video. Okay, you take a look at this area and you don't think video games, right? No, not in the least. Not with that thing, these kick-ass old boxing gloves. Well, look at this. We got tennis and skiing, but what's this? Columns and Jurassic Park on Game Gear. And anybody knows Jurassic Park on Game Gear is one of the best Jurassic Parks. Definitely 10-15% better on Master System, but how hilarious is that sitting right there amongst all this old antique stuff? Like, this place is about as random as it comes.
Oh, if it isn't old Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear sitting there up on the shelf next to this horrifically creepy doll. Why does she have blonde hair? That's not even genetically accurate. Pooh Bear. In fact, don't worry, Pooh. I'm gonna find you a jar of honey.
That's a pretty sweet mustache. That's all I gotta say. I gotta be honest, I haven't seen 8-Track in a really long time. I used to get a kick out of this when I was a kid because I thought it was old as dirt when I was like a child in the mid 80s. Now in 2025, this really is older than the sands of time. Very, very cool. Okay, what do we got here? Dr. Bones McCoy and Han Solo in the same case, side by side. I thought that was worthy of a 10-second video clip. And Brian pissing on a fire hydrant. Is that fucking Bobby from Bobby's World? And the penguin? Yes. I'm buying all 4. No, I don't think I am, but that's pretty awesome. Imagine being a die-hard comic book fan. I used to be, not anymore. You could spend a lifetime looking through this place. Plenty of comics to dive on into. That's pretty cool. Wolverine and Iron Man. Okay, in this cabinet, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Okay, so speaking of the locomotive I was talking about earlier, they have 2 of them. 25 bucks a piece. Not too bad. Gotta love some Dick Tracy toys. But we got Prune Face. I don't know who Sam is in the back there. We got Shoulders, Steve the Tramp, and Big Boy. No Flat Top, eh? Or Itchy. They got Prune Face, though. that from the Green Hornet? It is too. This random Daredevil head. Oh, yeah. Squirtle, Squirtle. Some funny things here that crack me up. Like Starscream. And Dora. And Mr. Freeze. Foster's, Australian for beer. Look at this old school elevator. This building is old as fuck. There's Bruce Willis down there. Where's John McClane? Place is crazy. Very old building too. Very old building. Alright, on to the third floor. I still haven't even checked the first floor. Classic. Come on. Why is there no thing? Giant ass building with a million different things everywhere, and I can't find the thing. If this TV show didn't put you to sleep back in the early 90s and late 80s, I don't know what would. That show was definitely bedtime. And again, so is Star Trek. I love Star Trek now, but when I was a kid, I did appreciate it, but it still put me to sleep. Definitely didn't have the excitement of Star Wars. A random moose over there. Oh, don't worry, I checked. I did not see the thing. Better double check. One day I'll find a copy of the thing on VHS. I can definitely appreciate this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, anyone who owns a garage, some very cool swag here. Definitely some very cool stuff, like that Shelby Route 66, sorry. I guess either is correct. Very, very, very cool. What are these creepy ass things? Is that Donald Trump? That is Donald Trump. That's hilarious. That's definitely supposed to be Donald Trump. That's pretty random. Well, I guess somebody must think highly of him because he's up there with Superman and Batman and Captain America. Though he is sitting next to it. And I guess Wonder Woman. Hopefully this is the room where I find the Thing. I'm gonna have to take a closer look, but I don't think so.
You know, anything catches the eye, this guy gets some cool stuff.
Okay, I need everyone to jump in the comments and let me know who wins, John Rambo or the Terminator. I think the Terminator pretty soundly. But that's pretty cool. Okay, guys, we are back home from Woodstock at that crazy antique shop that was so huge. Let's not waste any time and see what we picked up. Let's start off with a couple of VHS. We picked up Jackie Brown and True Romance. I've never seen Jackie Brown, and I am a Quentin Tarantino fan. Now, I do find Quentin Tarantino films are hit or miss with me. I either really like them or I don't like them at all. So I guess we'll find out with Jackie Brown, which is actually highly regarded, by the way. Apparently a very good film. True Romance is awesome. I just want to say something quick about this film. This is a great movie. Gary Oldman is softer than a bag of marshmallows wrapped in bubble wrap. Like, he's a small man. He's definitely not a tough man. He's not an aggressive man. He is an incredible actor. He plays a stone cold killing pimp in this, and he plays it so well and so convincingly. You would just have no idea that it's Gary Oldman. He is such a brilliant actor. But anyways, yes, True Romance and Jackie Brown, two dope pickups. Now, I'm going to start off with something here, or not start off, but continue with a McDonald's Happy Meal toy. I had to Google what year this came out because I had this as a kid. I also had the Daffy Duck. Who knows, maybe if I look up more pictures I might discover that at a few more, but I definitely had this, and I saw this and I was like, oh, that's cool. I had that when I was a kid. I looked it up. It came out in 1989, and I was curious, so I said, hey, how much is that? And they're like $2. I was like, well, you know what, I got this silly little knick-knack shelf in my bedroom that has, like, silly little knickknacks, and this one has a lot of meaning. I love this as a kid. Like I mentioned many times, I'm a very big Looney Tunes fans. Like, Looney Tunes it crushes Disney. It crushes everything. Looney Tunes was just the shit through so many generations, and I hope there's still kids today watching it because it is absolutely excellent. I love Looney Tunes, and well, I loved this thing when I was just a kid in 1989. I guess about 7 years of age. I hung on to it for several years. Of course, like all toys, you don't know what happens to them, but for $2, I was definitely picking that up right there. Now, I did say I love Looney Tunes way more than Disney, and I do. But if I had a favorite character from Disney, it is Donald Duck. This is going to be going next to my Quackshot. Unfortunately, it could go next to World of Illusion as well. But this is a sharp Disney Infinite looking Donald Duck. That is pretty dope. And he has all the attitude that Donald Duck has right there. That is a sharp looking figurine of Donald Duck. And though he doesn't have the Quackshot Indiana Jones clothes, he'll still look perfectly good next to Quackshot, where he is the leading role of that awesome game. So yeah, a little Donald Duck there. Oh, I don't really need the card, but whatever. Let's save the video games for last, because I only got 2 video games. Now this, I do not know if I'm going to keep this in the box. I generally don't ever keep anything in boxes. I have a James Bond. I have like very few Hot Wheels. I got like 4. And I have a James Bond Aston Martin, you know, the classic Bond car, and it's still in the Hot Wheels box. Because I've been waiting for like a James Bond figurine to open it up and have Bond standing next to it. I do have I do have 4 very small Ninja Turtles that I think would look very, very good next on that same knick-knack shelf I was talking about. And I can't help but think how good they would look next to this Turtle Van. I'm going to keep the Turtle Van in the box for now, but it's very likely sooner than later that this will be torn and ripped open, maybe carefully. Not that it matters, because it's not really worth anything. I got it for $9, and you know what? Some people might be like, hey, that's $3 too much. Whatever, man. It's the Turtles Van, and I have little Turtles figurines that are basically as, you know, appropriate size to stand next to this. So that's really cool in my opinion. I thought that was dope. Now, for a while, I've been wanting to make a little display with 1989 Michael Keaton's Batman, but I wanted a accurate Batman. Well, now I have an accurate Batman and accurate Batmobile. Just to give you perspective on how small it is when being next to a VHS, so, you know, there you go. Like, look how small Batman is. You know what I mean? Look how small Batman is. So, like, yeah, you know, I think I should be able to make that look pretty cool with the 1989 Batman. I suppose I could incorporate Batman's Returns as well, but, you know, this one was a bit of a pricier one. Truth be told, it was $18. And it's not like it's old or anything. I think it only came out a couple years ago, but you know what? I've never seen it. And I was looking for a legit, authentic, like, Michael Keaton Batman, and that is exactly an authentic Michael Keaton Batman with an exact Michael Keaton Batmobile. So I thought that was pretty fucking cool, to be honest. You know, maybe not the coolest thing in the world, but I thought it was dope. Now, a game my buddy had years ago, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I got this for cheap, $5. I've heard very good things from him back in the day. I've heard some good things more recently and some YouTube reviews and just people casually talking about it in passing. Now, I believe there are other Lord of the Rings games. I don't know if there's Fellowship of the Ring, which would be weird if there wasn't. I definitely know that there is, Return of the King. So I'll get a taste. EA did some good stuff back in the day in the early 2000s. You know, EA used to be dope. Let's face it, EA used to just be a juggernaut of a company. Still pretty dope in their own regards, but not what they used to be. But I've heard good things, so, you know, we'll give that a try and see if it is knocking shit over here. And last but not least, the most expensive item, which I got for $44, Rayman 2, The Great Escape, and its green greatness there on N64. I picked up Rayman recently on PS1, as some of you may have noticed in our previous Your World Gaming News. But nonetheless, those are my pickups from that crazy, giant, ancient, old-ass warehouse building that is allegedly and apparently the biggest antique store in Canada. So those are my pickups. Had a lot of fun.
What is going on, guys? Steve here from Alpha Nerd Entertainment. The variety show never ends. Well, first of all, I'm standing here in this beautiful little stream, almost big enough to call a small river. And I don't need big plastic boots to keep my feet dry. I ain't no pussy like back in the day gamer. Your move, Tony. Oh, what do I got here? I got a copy of Solo. I picked that up in Tilsonburg. little country town called Tilsonburg. I went into a little thrift store and I found Solo for $3. Now hold on, before you execute me for getting a modern Star Wars movie, I understand they suck. But you know what? Here's the thing. They also had Rise of Skywalker and that other one, and I immediately passed on them. I'd rather die than own those two modern Star Wars movies. But I do remember watching Solo and thinking that it wasn't that bad. I don't really remember it, but I don't remember hating it. I remember thinking it was okay. And for $3, I thought, fuck it. Let's throw it in the collection, give it another viewing, and further form my opinion on it. Because I honestly do not remember it being that bad of a movie. Those other two, though, Rise of Skywalker and fucking Last Jedi, fuck that shit. That just happened. Okay, what's going on, guys? I'm back, and you see that rock right there? Yeah, that was holding up my phone on that log pointing towards the stream, and well, yeah, it fell. Got a clear path, you know. Okay, so the sun, honest to God, feels amazing on my back right now. And I kind of wish I had my camera. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm going to fucking scream. The view over here is, honest to God, gorgeous. And I really, quite frankly, wish I had my phone. Oh well. Let's carry on. That is a good 5 feet deep there, easy. Work ouch! Ouch, man, ouch! Oh. Oh. All right. Can you still see me? I don't know if this sand hill was still in the picture when I went over, but we're gonna try. These fucking branches are sharp. Gotta be careful. All right, success. Hopefully you can still see me there. That was worth it. I said that was worth it. Now what?
Okay, and welcome back. I did get one pickup, but this one I got online. Hercules on the PS1 is one hell of an awesome game I've been looking for a long time, and I knew I wasn't going to find it in the wild anytime soon. And I really want this game. I've no death ran this game. I like this game a lot. It has very much an old school feel. It was incredibly frustrating to play and learn upon its first playthrough, not unlike old school games that for some reason do irritate us and troll us, yet us somehow on some masochistic level take a shine to them and enjoy unraveling the mysteries and puzzles that make up these games, and then we push through them and persevere and beat them and overcome their agony and stress. This game brings a lot of that old school feel. I'm not saying it's a hard game, but it's not an easy game. And it will make you have to learn, and you will fail and you will stumble before you win. And once you figure out how to play this game, it becomes a lot easier, like a lot of other games. But that's a pretty cool pickup. That was a lot of fun visiting the antique store, I am not going to lie. Interesting place. I do look forward to visiting it again. I'm sure some of you may have been to places like this. This was new for me. I've never stumbled across a big old antique store, and apparently there's one in my hometown that I might check out. But allegedly that one was the biggest in all of Canada. And it was pretty huge. It was pretty huge, and there was still a lot of stuff that I didn't get to check out. But with all that being said, guys, we got to move on. We got to move on to the weather and sports. So we're going to take it over to Stefanos Furcio with the weather. And we'll see you back here real soon.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Stefanos Furcio here, back with the weather. It's hard to have a positive attitude. It is hard to feel good in this cold-ass, gloomy fucking weather. Take a look around. This should be a sunny, beautiful day. We are almost in June right now. And what am I looking at here? This is like April weather. Not May 20th weather. I guess the farmers are happy. Oh, the farmers mean the rain. It's not even raining. Make up your mind. It's spitting. Pick one. Don't rain or rain. Anyways, guys, can you think of some video games that got some gloomy, shit-ass fucking weather? I'll pop them up right here. Right there. I'll show some pictures of video games with some gloomy, shitty weather. You know, one that comes to mind is Red Dead Redemption 2. That game has all sorts of weather, You know, a lot of the times it's cold and shitty like this. I tell you, but I don't got no fucking horse to hop on right now. Or else, if I did, I wouldn't be making this video. I'd be riding a fucking horse off into the horizon, which is that low-key small mountain. It's gonna have to do for a backdrop. Anyways, this is Stefanos Virtio. Let's go back to Alpha Nerd in the game room, and let's get back in the car where it's nice and warm. Yeah!
Well, thank you, Stefanos Virtio. It was cold. A little too cold for me. I can understand the rain and the gray skies, but the temperature? Absolutely brutal. But with that being said, we're going to take things over to Canadian Butters with the sports.
Derp, 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 derp. Derp, 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 derp.
What is up, you wonderful and beautiful people? It is Canadian Butters here with the sports. Tonight, the Edmonton Oilers go against the Dallas Stars. If you ask me personally, I say, go Edmonton! And if you didn't catch it last time, the Toronto Maple Leafs lost 6-1 to the Florida Panthers. Looks good on them. The Toronto Maple Leafs absolutely suck. From the NHL to the MLB, we go over to baseball. Well, on Tuesday night, the Atlanta Braves went against the Seattle Mariners in an absolute nail-biter. I was there. Can somebody shut this guy the fuck up? Listen to the way he talks. It's horrible. Somebody, please silence him.
Out 3 away. In the bottom of the first, Atlanta 1, Seattle nothing.
Good Lord, thank you for fixing that. Yeah, like you said there, it was 1-0, but by the time it was the top of the fourth, Atlanta took a commanding lead. Oh, yeah, the Atlanta Braves were really dominating in the first half of this game. 5-0 at the top of the fourth.
The second. The runner scores, in there with a double, and throws to right line.
The Braves would score another, making it 6-0. But by the time we reached the top of the seventh, you know, I have to say Seattle kind of rallied and got back in there. 9-4. This match was absolutely awesome. I'm not going to lie. Maybe I'll let the announcer from the game take it over. Listen to the way he talks. It's actually hilarious.
The pitch on the way. The runner heads for third. Swing and a ground ball up the middle. Picks it up. Here comes the throw. No errors. Seattle 6 runs, 13 hits, and no errors. The win goes to Atlanta.
Atlanta gets the win 15-6. Now let's just take some time to move on over to MMA, mixed martial arts in the UFC. Poutine, what the hell is this? What do you mean breaking news? I guess we'll bring it back to Alpha Nerd with the breaking news.
Sorry to interrupt Canadian Butters in the sports, but this just in, breaking news. Madman loose in Miami. Seen public masturbating, arson, felon, grand theft auto, assault, and battery. Proceed with caution. Described as looking like Donovan from Streets of Rage 2. Bald head, dick nose, and screaming pull up and DK on the Kong. Well, folks, I'm not too sure. I'm unfamiliar, but if you see this man, please report him. What's that, Butters?
Hamburgers. I think I know who that is. Real crazy guy. Out of his mind from Florida.
You know who this is?
Pretty sure a crazy guy named Elmo. And he screams 50 deep all the time.
This is very interesting, Butters.
I think I can calm him down.
Okay, well, if you think you can help, you're sure.
Does poutine make you shit your pants?
Okay, well, if you insist, Canadian Butters seems to think that he can solve this case. So we're going to follow Canadian Butters and see if he can solve this mystery of the madman on a loose in Miami.
It's very true, folks. I think I know where this guy is. And I think I can track him down if you give me a chance. It's time for me to hop on a plane and go to fucking Miami. Poutine. Oh, hamburgers, this is going to be a long flight. Good thing I brought a whole Ace of Base CD. Oh, I saw the sign. It opened up my eyes, and I am happy to be in Miami now. Canadian poutine. I tell ya, Retro Elmo has to be around here somewhere. Or Elmo Army, whatever the hell he's going by these days. Geez, look at this beautiful beach. Those guys don't know that I'm gonna fix everything. No problem. Yeah, this guy's a little postal. That's to say the least. He's not crazy. He's fucking insane. Look at me driving this nice car. I'm such a good driver. Yep, that's the place right there. Elmo is sure to be in there. Yep, Retro Elmo is sure to be inside there. Let's go have a little peek and see if we can find him. Ah, hamburgers, this place sure is greasy. Look at all those people down there. But where the hell is he? I don't see him anywhere.
DK on the dong. 50 deep.
He's in here somewhere, I just heard him. What the hell is DK on the dong anyways? Where the hell is he? Jesus fucking Christ.
DK on the dong. Fuck.
I can definitely hear him, but where the fucking hell is he? Jesus Christ, this place is greasy as fuck. Oh shit, there he is. Why is he wearing his fucking underwear?
Is that Canadian Butters? Are you pulling up? 50 fucking deep. DK on the dong.
Right. Yeah, no, Elmo, I'm not pulling up. I heard you've been causing a whole lot of shit and a whole lot of fucking problems. You're pissing everybody off. You're being a complete nuisance. Like, I get you. I think you're hilarious. But, you're kind of annoying everybody. Like, you're, like, legitimately a pretty big troll. Often best ignored, but, I've been asked to do a favor.
Favors? 50 fucking deep, dick nose. Fucking fuckface. I don't do favors.
Well, I brought something for you. I thought maybe, it would settle you down for a while, kind of cool your jets.
Yeah, well, what about Alpha Piss? That guy's scared to quit. Fucking scared to quit. Fucking dick nose. Fuckface. 50 fucking deep. DK on the dong. Yeah. That guy won't talk about queef.
Oh, yeah, I know Alpha. Actually, he's been pretty cool lately. I gotta be honest, I don't think he cares. He's like making money, laying pipe, just enjoying the outdoors. He kind of, minding his own business, just enjoying his life, focusing on himself. Doesn't sound like a bad idea, to be honest with you, buddy.
Focus on yourself? Fuck that. I focus on everybody else. DK on the dong. Fuckface. Dick nose.
Yeah, well, you're kind of being crazy, like, no offense or anything, like, I get you, but, everyone else doesn't seem to get your sense of humor and everything, but, I brought you something. I brought you some Alpo. I know how you love Alpo, right? Elmo loves Alpo. So I brought you some Alpo and a 2-for of iced tea and a poutine. You always say 50 deep. I think if there's at least 50 Alpos in this box, that's got to be good for something, right?
DK on the dong. Canadian Butters, I always knew I liked you. You're one of the fucking cool ones. Not like Tweet. Alpha Piss. Fuckface. Dick nose. Fucking pull. Yeah, I could probably chill out a little bit. Since you brought me all these Alpos. That's not too bad, I'm gonna be honest with you. 50 Alpos and some iced tea? Yeah, I could probably tone it down for a little bit. How about I not troll for about a week?
A week? Jesus Christ, Elmo, that's not very long. Can you give me at least like 2 weeks? I'm trying to put out a fire here and come off like the cool guy, solving all the problems. You gotta give me at least 2 weeks.
Pull up, fuckface, dick nose, DK on the dong. Yeah, okay, Canadian Butters. I guess I could give you 2 weeks, since you came all this way and brought me all this Alpo. Elmo likes Alpo! 50 fucking deep! Pull up! Butters, you got yourself a deal.
Canadian poutine. I solved the problem and did it again. I'm the best. Thanks, Elmo.
Yeah, no problem, but get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna go eat this Alpo now.
What the fuck has happened to my car? Well, I did it again. Everyone's gonna be so happy with me. Yep, I definitely solved the case today. I'm gonna hit this jump. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, poutine! Good lord! Oh, shit! Holy fuck, this baby's on fire.
Well, folks, we have lost all communication with Canadian Butters.
We have not heard from him in 3 days. And we have not received any trolling from Elmo in 3 days. As long as we've ever gone without any trolling, so we can only but wonder what happened. We are concerned about Canadian Butters and his whereabouts. But we think he was successful in his mission. Nonetheless, the Your World Gaming News must continue. And let's just break the fuck out of character there and pour ourselves a beer. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'll say that much at the very least. You know, from the kick-ass intro with Mr. Matthews. Thanks once again for that. Very well done. To the detailed Red Dead talk. And I hope anyone who is hesitant from diving into that game can maybe be a little more enthused after listening and watching what I provided at the start of the video. For those of you who checked out the antique store and that segment of the episode, I hope you like that. I had a lot of fun with it. A lot of cool pickups. I should say that I've been playing Rayman. Fuck, I keep calling this game Raymond. Like everybody loves Raymond. No, it is Rayman. Rayman on PS1 that I picked up in a previous episode of Your World Gaming News. I am really enjoying it. Now, I've been pretty preoccupied and been pretty busy with, working on this video, which I buckled down and did my best to execute in one sitting today. Bada bing, bada boom, just getting it done. So we can move on to the Retro Results Challenge, Metal Slug, Contra, and Desert Speed Trap starring Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Yeah, I want to get that out soon. If you are watching this far into the video, I do hope to have that video out hopefully by Sunday night, if not Tuesday night at the latest. That's about 4 to 5 to 6 days from the time of this video's upload. So hopefully soon, less than 2 weeks from the deadline of the results itself. That is the goal. And then we'll be working on another Your World Gaming News, as I still have a decent amount of footage to get that episode going as well. I don't know what to say. I've been having a lot of fun with this. I really have been. I hope you've been having fun with it as well. This is obviously going to be the longest video I've ever made and longest episode of Your World Gaming News, and I hope you enjoyed it. All things considered, we are left with a bit of a cliffhanger there. Where is the whereabouts of Butters? Good stuff, some good pickups, having a good time. Where do we go from here? What do we talk about at this point moving forward? Do I just save my breath and not bump my gums and just wrap it up here? Do I dive into the whole concept of everyone complaining about the prices of video games these days? And on some level, I can understand where they're coming from. In other regards, I can't. Video games have not inflated in price very much at all. But, all I can say is that my backlog keeps growing. And I don't want to say it's a stress. It's not. Here's the interesting thing. I'm playing Rayman on PS1, as I mentioned. And it's interesting how certain games call to you. After I was done my, attempts with my retro challenge, which I still want to return to Super C for the NDR. It's just, there's not enough hours in the day. There really isn't enough hours in the day. I'm fucking serious. Between work and, actually creating content these days and working on backlog, it's tough. So Rayman called to me, and I'm enjoying it. I don't know what I'm going to start after that. Like, the list is kind of getting pretty unlimited. Like, it's absolutely absurd. I couldn't imagine even wanting access to more games, though there are games I wish I had access to, which is going to bring me to one final thing that I think I am going to talk about. It was another question from Gaming Off the Grid's episode when somebody asked them what are their 5 most favorite arcade games. And let me tell you, I got to put my beer down here for a minute because I got to talk about this one 2 different ways. We're going to wrap up with this one, guys. When they were asked what are their favorite top 5 arcade games, if I was given the same answer, and it's a great question, if I were given the same answer, I have to answer that 2 ways. So here's how it is. I'm going to answer it first with my favorite games that I played having experience in real life. Because, see, one thing it made me think about, and that's one thing I love about questions, and it's one thing I loved about their episode, is that it got me thinking about my life in gaming, as I mentioned at the start of this video. And it made me remember, what games did I spend the most money on as a kid? And I remember testing out some shooters. Let me tell you, I didn't play them. You want to know why? Well, I didn't exactly have pockets filled with quarters. You know, kids didn't have a whole lot of money. And what we did have, we had to be pretty choosy with. And shoot 'em ups were crazy hard. So the ones I did try and play, I never returned to because I saw it as a waste of money. I saw it as me getting ripped off for the little bit of money I had that I had to try to make go as far as possible. And though I played many of those, and even some beat 'em ups would get your ass kicked pretty quickly, and you'd be pumping another 50 cents in and another 50 cents in. Sometimes you would wander around that arcade room and you would think about, okay, where am I going to invest my money? Where am I going to invest my money? And sometimes, believe it or not, the ones that cost $1 were a good bang for your buck, because if you got good at them, you could get a rewarding run and you could get a good amount out of it. So this takes me to my favorite arcade games that I played in the arcade, and then I'll talk about my 5 favorite arcade games as a whole. So as far as experience goes, as a kid, I'm just going to no particular order, Marvel Superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Those two I played in the arcade a lot. I'll just focus more on Marvel Superheroes as I played both of them a bunch. I remember the satisfaction of watching another person after beating a guy once or twice and having his friend jump in and pop 50 cents in and challenge you, and here comes a new challenger. The satisfaction of beating people and going through a few people and getting high scores. That game was super engaging, both of them. Loved it. Some of my most favorite gaming moments growing up in the arcade was winning in both those games consistently and seeing my name. I remember going back to 2 locations. I didn't have time to play, but I'd run in and just see if my name was still at the top. And I remember one day, the one location, it was pushed down to 3rd, and I was like, wow, and it took years. Yeah, good stuff. Really loved playing both those games a lot. Crazy Taxi. Crazy Taxi was dope. Crazy Taxi had an incentive. If you got good at Crazy Taxi, you could take your turns go longer. It was loud, it was bright, it was vibrant, it was in your face, it had Bad Religion, it had Offspring. I love Crazy Taxi. I love playing this game. I love when I learned that you can pack a shift and get a boost by popping it in reverse. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it sort of works on how you shift a car. Only the game doesn't have a clutch. So they sort of treat reverse and drive plus gas is a bit of a clutch combination. So what the idea is when you're at a standstill picking up a customer, you drop it in neutral. You then rev the engine, let off, hit it and drive and stomp the gas. And if you do it correctly, you'll get a really nice boost. Such a nice boost that is a game changer, big time game changer. Easier to do on a controller than it was in the arcade, but it was still an incentive to keep playing and kicking ass. Just like it was in Cruis'n USA, another one that I love, number 3. Cruis'n USA was one of those ones where if you got first place, you got a free turn. So I mastered a couple of tracks and would get multiple free turns and got a whole lot of money's worth for my $1. And I loved going 2 or 3 or 4 races on $1 and just getting good enough to do that. It was a super incentive and a super fun game. What else do we got? Interesting. Time Crisis 2. Beat Time Crisis 2 in the arcade. Me and my buddy played it a lot. That was on him. He had some money and he always loved it and he paid for me to play it, so I never dropped $1 on it because it was a quarter muncher as well. But he always paid out to play that, so I got to play it a lot, and it is fun. And it was cool to actually beat. I remember the time we did beat it, he dumped a lot of quarters in. It was actually the time we discovered that you could put more than 50 cents in, and the machine would recognize that it owed you credits, because he was just going so quick. When we were dying, he was just hammering them in, and that's when I noticed. I was like, oh shit, dude, if you put $2 in, it gives you the credits. I never knew that before that moment. And my 5th and favorite final game from the arcade from back in the day is probably another racing game. Daytona USA. Blue skies. Great graphics, great controls, super loud audio, awesome experience, fun racing game. Again, another incentive to do good, drive good. And it didn't give you a free play, but man, it was satisfying to win. It was hard. It was harder than Cruis'n USA. All I can say is it was fucking dope. Oh, and Soul Calibur. When I played it as Soul Edge, before I even knew about Soul Calibur, Soul Edge was dope.
Another great fighting game by Namco. Great stuff. But let's go just to my favorite 5 arcades now, because I want to wrap this up. My favorite 5 arcade games: Metal Slug. I love Metal Slug. I love Dodon Panchi. I love Simpsons Arcade. I love Outrunners. Yes, more than Outrun. Outrunners Arcade is fucking awesome. Really, 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 really like it a lot. Played it a whole bunch about 6-7 years ago in the arcade. Haven't played it in about 3 or 4 years. Really awesome game. Extremely fun. Definitely one of my favorites. And if I can wrap up one final favorite arcade game, or actually 2, 3. Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man, and Donkey Kong. When I think about old school, those 3 I did play a lot of as well. Because there was the gap between arcade. It was going to the arcade with my dad and playing those games, those old school ones. Then a gap in between where I didn't get to go much. And then as I became a teen and went on my own, you obviously heard the list of games that made sense for where I was as a teenager. And all I can say is thinking about the arcade is a really cool thing and a really cool time. And a time that may never exist again. For any of the arcades that exist and are still open, cheers to that. We used to have one downtown at 1UP Games, but it closed. It is what it is. With that being said, guys, this is Your World Gaming News. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I had a lot of fun. Till next time, keep it cool, keep it retro, and always be a gamer. And with that being said, I'm finally gonna drink this drink that I poured a good 12 minutes ago. Peace out, guys. Once again, honestly, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Really, comment. I love your comments. They do make the videos more engaging, more interesting. Try to give some thought-provoking questions, and I'll enjoy answering them moving forward as well. Absolutely no issue there. Cheers.